It all started 30 years ago with a man who was inside a temple looking for something. And at the end, he found it. A giant golden chocolate chip and a sign that said, "Beware, 30 years later, a surprise will come that may make a problem." But he didn't care, and so he took the chocolate chip gold. 30 years later, I woke up this morning, and I went outside because I know it was going to rain, and I loved a bunch of things about the rain. How it makes flowers grow, how I like to jump in puddles, I like to do the rain dance with my favorite song, and colors, mostly about rainbows. But when I went outside, a shocking thing happened. My driveway was covered in chocolate. I know it was a prank from someone, and I yelled, "You can come out now, it's fine." But nobody was there. And then I felt a bump on my head. A chocolate chip was lying on the ground. How'd this get here? I thought. Then, all of a sudden, I felt another bump. A chocolate chip was in my hood. What is going on? I thought. And when I went down to the grocery store to pick up some groceries, bump! A chocolate chip hit my car. And this one was big. It was the size of a cup, like a mug. I knew something wasn't right. So I went to the news station where they were talking about the weather and asked them something. But they didn't know what was wrong either. When I went down back home, I was heading home, but then I realized something when I was exiting the news station. My car had a giant dent in the middle, and there was a gigantic chocolate chip the size of a laptop lying on it. I knew this was getting crazy, so I had to head home. But my engine wouldn't start. And then something worse happened. The giant chocolate chip that stopped my car from working was melting. And then I realized something. I left my dog outside. So I ran as fast as I can. Luckily, my dog was still there. So I carried him and ran inside with him in my arms and locked the door. What is going on? I thought. Why is it raining chocolate chips? So when I went into my room, I was reading all sorts of things about the weather. In the future, I wanted to be a weatherman. But my patterns didn't make any sense. It didn't equal chocolate chips. Today was supposed to be a normal rain. Today's problem? Why was it raining chocolate chips? And I have to stop it before it causes trouble. Because it's getting bigger the size soon. It started off like a miniature one. And now the one I had was the size of a computer or laptop. I was looking around to find something that I could wear to stop it. But all I had was a Hershey Park poncho. It'll do. So I grabbed it, and when I went outside, it was pouring chocolate chips. Like a heavy storm coming. It was everywhere. Like a giant bag being poured down onto you. I ran to the news station once again and demanded to speak with the weatherman. And he said he probably doesn't know. but I just left. This is all becoming unstable. My poncho was getting chocolatey. Soon, people might as well be chocolate people, and we'll be in a chocolate city. Then I found something. It was a lever. My home was close by the forest, so I thought I might as well have a little bit of fun, just in case a giant chocolate storm came. So I pulled the lever, and then a car came out of nowhere and hit me. I screamed for help, but nobody was around. And it led me into a temple. And there was something on it that said, "Beware, if you take the treasure, 30 years later, a problem will happen." Somebody must have taken something that was on it. But what? And then these people in brown hoods came out of nowhere, grabbed me, and pulled me somewhere. There was a bunch of chocolate novelty. There was cocoa beans, there was Hershey wrappers, and there was all sorts of chocolate things you could imagine. There was even a chocolate maker. This was becoming more wackier by the second. I had to figure out what was going on. Then they told me. They were looking for their golden chocolate chip. But somebody must have stolen it. Because when they came back 30 years ago, it was gone. So for 30 years, they were going to head off to find it. But then their cart was missing. Somebody must have pulled the lever the opposite way and pulled it and left their cart gone. And when I pulled it, I opened their door. All they had to eat was chocolate, which wasn't healthy for them. If they just had their golden chocolate chip back, which was a gigantic size, I could live my normal life. So I ran all over the place looking for a golden chocolate chip. A golden chocolate chip? How was I supposed to find it? And then I tumbled on something. It was a gigantic rock. I picked it up and knocked on it, but it wasn't it. Then I saw something. A garage sale from an old adventurer. I ran down and found it. The golden chocolate chip. It was the size of a peanut butter jar. "How much for this?" I said. And the adventurer said, $3 million. What? It was $3 million for a gigantic chocolate chip. It was the size of a normal big chocolate kisses that you could get from a store. There was no way I was going to play for something $3 million. I told him that I needed it. And he said he didn't bother if it was raining because he could just get all you can eat chocolate. And he put his mouth to the sky and had a mouthful of chocolate chips. I couldn't believe it. This guy was trying to rob me. I mean, I'm pretty sure this wasn't even real gold. It was in a wrapper. I told him if I could have the feel. And then I did something I might regret. I just ran to my car and prayed that it would work. And I drove away. I couldn't believe it. I just stole something from someone. I had to drive back though. I could not take this anymore. If I had just drove fast enough, I could make it. And then my car broke down, and I could hear a scream from an adventurer and a snapping sound. A whip. I knew he said he was an old adventurer, and so I thought maybe he would just close his place and chase me. So I pulled the lever, got in the cart, and went so fast. But then, when I was just about to make it to the brown cloak people, the stop came to the cart, and I felt the wind pushing my back. He must have pulled the lever, and I was heading back to him. Help! I screamed, hoping the brown cloaked people would come. But they were so far away, and they couldn't stand the light for being in there for so long. So I jumped out of there with the golden chocolate chip in my hands and ran. And then I could hear a clicking sound. And then a shh. He pushed the lever, and now he was heading towards me. And the ride was way faster than me. I was doomed. There was no way I could make it. Unless I just did the same thing. I stood between on top of the tracks, and he hit me right in the back. He grabbed the chocolate chip, and we started doing a golden chocolate chip tug-of-war. Finally, I hit him and he fell down, and I made it to the brown cloak people. Here you go, I said to the brown cloak people, and they put it on the pedestal, and then suddenly the chocolate chips stopped raining from the sky. The adventurer was furious and demanded I handed it back. And I said, "You have to deal with those people now." And he saw the brown cloak people. "You," the master said, "you were the one who stole our chocolate chip in the first place." "So what?" the adventurer said. "I just wanted to make some big bucks off it. Everybody does now these days." "You will be punished for doing that," the man said. "No," said the adventurers. "I will not be punished for trying to be making money." "You shall," said the boss of the brown cloak people, and he pushed a boulder and pulled a lever, and I got shot out of the sky with a parachute and made it home. "You shall stay here forever and eat only chocolate with us," said the boss of the brown cloak people. "No!" said the adventurer. I could hear their screams from a mile away. I was back at home, chocolate chip free. The end.